Everything that woman just told you is true. I need you to hear me say that before anything else. Every word she spoke was true. I know it's true because I learned every one of those lessons myself, the hardest way a person can learn anything. I am 103 years old. I was born in 1922 in a town that no longer exists, a coal town in Kentucky, swallowed up and forgotten, just like most coal towns were. I have been many things in my life: a daughter, a wife, a mother, a widow, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother. I have known a kind of poverty that would make your worst day feel like a vacation. I have buried 2 of my children. I have buried one husband I hated and another I loved so deeply that I still speak to him sometimes when no one else is around to hear me. I have seen things that would break most people, and yet I am still here, sitting in my daughter's living room, watching Jeanette's video, nodding my head because she is right. She is right about all of it. But there is something you need to understand. That woman had a good life. She says so herself. She was poor, but she was happy. She had a wonderful mother. She had one husband for nearly 60 years, and it was a good marriage. Her children lived. She walked home through clean snow, went to the movies for free, and still calls that one of her best memories. That is a good life. I did not have that life, and I still learned the same lessons she did, which means those lessons are not just gentle ideas from a lucky old woman who made it to 105. They are the truth, the real truth about how life works, and if you ignore them, you will regret it. Not because I want you to feel regret, but because regret is what happens when you live long enough to finally see what you threw away. Let me tell you about fate. Jeanette talks about the book, the belief that your entire life is written before you were born, how long you will live, what kind of life you will have. She says it is not up to you. I believe that too, but not in the same way. I believe there are things that happen to you that you cannot control. A car jumps the curb, a mine collapses, a virus finds your daughter before there is a vaccine, a war takes your son and sends back a folded flag. Those things are not up to you. She is right about that. You can be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that can be the end of your story. But here is what she did not say, and maybe she didn't need to because her life never forced her to learn it the way mine did. What you do after the thing happens, that part is up to you. I was married for the first time at 16. I will not tell you his name. I haven't spoken it in over 70 years. I spent 8 years living in fear. Fear when he came home, fear when he didn't, fear when he was quiet, fear when he was loud. I had 2 babies in that house, and every day I was afraid something would happen to them because of him. Then, one night in 1946, he went to a bar and never came back. Another woman's husband put a knife in him over a card game, and that was the end of my first life. I was 24 years old, 2 children, no money, no family who could help. I thought my life was over. That was the moment, the exact moment when I could have decided that the book was written, that fate had dealt me a bad hand and all I could do was endure it until I died. But I didn't choose that. I decided the book might be written, but I was going to read it my own way. I took my 2 children and found a job cleaning rooms at a motel outside Lexington. I saved every penny I could hide. 3 years later, I met Earl at a church supper. I didn't trust him at first. Why would I trust any man after what I'd lived through? But Earl was patient. Earl waited. Earl showed me, through actions, not words, that he was not going to be like the one before. I married Earl in 1949, and that was the beginning of my real life. 50 years with that man. 3 more children. A farm that wasn't much, but it was ours. Quiet mornings, hard work, and a kind of peace I didn't even know existed until I was nearly 30 years old. You might hear that and think, well, you got lucky. You escaped something bad and landed somewhere good. But luck is not what freed me from that first marriage. A knife and a bar freed me from that marriage. What I did after I was free, the choices I made, the work I put in, the way I chose to trust again, even when every part of me was screaming not to, that wasn't luck. That was me deciding my story wasn't finished yet. And that's what I need you to understand. Your story isn't finished either, and you're the one holding the pen. Jeanette is right. You can't control how long you live. I've watched people younger and stronger than me die from things nobody saw coming. I've watched people who did everything right get cancer anyway. And I've watched people who smoked, drank, and never exercised live to 95. There is no formula. There is no secret. But she's also right about this. People make life better or worse. She said people can make the world better or they can make it worse, and that includes you. It's up to you what kind of person you decide to be today, right now while you're watching this instead of doing something else. And what kind of person will you be when you stop watching? Will you call someone you've been meaning to call? Will you apologize for something you've been too proud to admit? Will you tell someone you love them before it's too late? Because one day it will be too late. I promise you that. I've watched it happen more times than I can count. Let me tell you about my daughter. Her name was Mary Catherine. She was born in 1941. She was my first baby, my miracle, that's what I called her, because she walked into a house full of darkness and brought light with her anyway. Brown hair, blue eyes, she laughed at everything. Even when things were bad, she could always find something to laugh about. She kept me alive during years when I wasn't sure I wanted to stay alive. In 1952, she got sick, polio. She was 11 years old. I remember the doctor coming to the house. I remember the look on his face. I remember knowing what he was going to say before he ever said it. And I remember the next 3 weeks, watching her grow weaker, watching her try to smile at me even when it hurt, watching her slip away piece by piece, until one morning I went in to check on her and she was gone. I was 30 years old. I had already survived things most people never have to survive. But standing in that room looking at my baby girl who wasn't breathing anymore, that was the closest I ever came to giving up completely. I'll tell you what saved me. Earl didn't try to fix it. He didn't try to make it better. He didn't say everything happens for a reason, or she's in a better place, or any of the other things people say when they don't know what else to say. He just stayed. For weeks, for months,
He sat with me while I cried. He held my hand while I screamed at God. He made sure I ate when I didn't want to eat. He took care of the other children when I couldn't. He didn't ask me to be okay. He just stayed. That is what love is. Jeanette said love is hard to define. She said she would define respect instead. I understand why. Respect is easier to explain. But I've been married twice, and I can tell you exactly what love is. Love is staying. Love is being there when there is nothing you can do and staying anyway. Love is not running when things get ugly. Love is not giving up on someone when they're at their worst. My first husband didn't love me. He wanted to own me. There's a difference. Some of you watching this know exactly what I mean. Some of you are living with someone right now who wants to own you, not love you, and you're telling yourself it's not that bad, that things will get better, that you can fix it if you just try harder. You can't. I spent 8 years trying to fix a man who didn't want to be fixed. I almost died trying, and the only reason I got out is because someone else killed him before he killed me. If you are in a situation like that, get out. I don't care what it takes. I don't care how scared you are. I don't care if you have nowhere to go. Get out. Because staying will destroy you, and you deserve better than destruction. Jeanette talked about marriage lasting, about not giving up too easily, about giving it a chance. She's right. But she's talking about marriages between two people who both want to be there, two people who are both trying, people who fight but come back to each other, who turn their backs in bed when they're angry but wake up in the morning and try again. That is not the same as staying with someone who hurts you. That is not the same as excusing abuse. You have to know the difference. And if you don't, ask someone who does. Ask someone who's lived it. They'll tell you the truth. Let me tell you about my son. His name was James Earl Patterson, Jr., named after his father. We called him Jimmy. He was born in 1951, the year before Mary Catherine got sick. He grew up watching his mother grieve for a sister he barely remembered. He grew up on that farm, helping his father, learning to fix things, build things, grow things. In 1969, he turned 18 and enlisted for Vietnam.
I begged him not to go. I told him there were other ways to serve his country. I told him I had already lost one child and I could not survive losing another. He looked at me and said, "Mama, I have to go. The boys over there need help. I can't sit here on this farm while they're dying." He died 4 months later. An ambush outside Da Nang. They sent me a letter, a folded flag, and a box with his things, his watch, his wallet, and a picture of our family he kept in his pocket. I was 47 years old. I had now buried 2 of my children. You want to know how I survived that? I don't know. I truly don't. There were days I didn't want to survive it. Nights I prayed to God to take me too so I could see them again. There were moments when I thought about making that happen myself. But I had 3 other children who needed me. I had Earl who needed me. And somewhere, deep beneath all that grief, there was a quiet voice that said, "You are not finished yet." That voice has kept me alive for 103 years. And that voice is inside you, too. I know it is. Even if you can't hear it right now, it's there. And it's telling you the truth. You are not finished yet. Your story is not over. There is still time to make it mean something. Jeanette said something in that video that hit me harder than anything else. She said, "When you're young enough to change, you can change.
When you get old, you're too old to change. I disagree. I changed when I was 24 and my first husband died. I changed when I was 30 and I buried my daughter. I changed when I was 47 and I buried my son. I changed when I was 76 and I buried Earl. Every time I thought I was too old to change, life came along and changed me anyway. You are never too old to change, but you might be too stubborn, too scared, too comfortable inside your own misery to imagine anything different. That is what will kill you, not age, stubbornness, fear, comfort in misery. If you're watching this and you're 25 or 30 or 40 and you think you have plenty of time, let me tell you something. You don't. You might have plenty of time, or you might have 3 months, or you might have until tomorrow afternoon. You don't know. Nobody does. That's the whole point. Genevieve is right. Your life might already be written. But she's also right about this. You can't know what's written. You can't read ahead. All you can do is live the page you're on and make it count. So make it count. Call your mother. Call your father. Call whoever raised you, whoever loved you when you didn't deserve it, whoever stayed when everyone else left. Call them. Tell them thank you. Tell them you love them. Do it today. Do it right now when this video ends, because I promise you there will come a day when you can't make that call anymore. There will come a day when you pick up the phone and remember they're gone, and you'll think about all the times you meant to call and didn't. Don't let that be you. I am 103 years old. I have more regrets than I can count, but the ones that hurt the most aren't the things I did. They're the things I didn't do, the words I didn't say, the calls I didn't make, the time I wasted being angry or scared or stubborn when I could have been present. You still have time. Use it. Jeanette said, treat people the way you want to be treated. She said, it's so easy to be nice to somebody. She's right. It is. And most people still don't do it. Be one of the ones who does. Be kind when you don't have to be. Be patient when it's hard. Be gentle with people who are struggling because you don't know what they're carrying. You never know whose child just died, whose marriage is falling apart, who is one bad day away from giving up completely. A kind word costs you nothing and might save someone's life. I have lived through a depression, a world war, a polio epidemic, Vietnam, recessions, pandemics, and more funerals than I can remember. I have seen the worst of what people can do to each other, and I have seen the best. And I am telling you, the best is worth fighting for. Your life is worth fighting for. Don't give up. Don't settle. Don't accept a version of your life that makes you miserable just because changing feels too hard. Jeanette made it to 105. I have made it to 103. We are still here, and we are both telling you the same thing. It is not too late. Whatever you need to do, whatever you need to change, whatever you need to say before you run out of chances, do it, Dale.